you will accept more of your purpose today, and more of you will change. I had to give you the full title because I needed to tell you that you will change. We all will. That's what we're meant to do. But I'm giving you that title because it's December the 17th, and that's the message that I received through Wilhelm for December the 18th of 2024. And I just wrote an article on LinkedIn, how do you explain you discovered or uncovered the order of the universe? And so I'm just going to say it. That's exactly what happened. We never know who we're going to become when we come into the world, and I certainly didn't know I was going to become this person. And I had a difficult life. I went through so many challenging things early in my life, and they're gone because of this work. But owning that was really challenging and trying to explain it, which I can't do. We live in our consciousness will develop different things. Whenever we live as humans, we develop different abilities and skills, and I didn't know I was going to develop this one. I changed my life many years ago, and people kept questioning why I was doing that, because I had this great career. I was doing vocal coaching, and it was wonderful. But I knew something else. I knew the world was changing, and I had been given all that information. For 36 years, I've been receiving Wilhelm and writing it every single day. And then I discovered it turned into a quantum philosophy, especially for this time in our world, because we were moving through a great dramatic shift. And so people would be a little confused, a little upset, and uncomfortable, all of us, because we're being asked to evolve, but we're being asked to evolve into who we're meant to become individually. And it's never going to look like anyone else. Mine certainly didn't look like anyone else's. When I was a vocal coach, people couldn't understand why I was still writing Wilhelm, and I had to do it. I didn't know why I was doing it. And then to find out that it turned into this quantum philosophy, and me holding it back, because I absolutely know that no person needs to struggle. I've said this so many times, but it's hard to get others to understand, because, see, the only reason we struggle, and what I was doing, the only reason we struggle is because we have this difficulty accepting who we are. And we're meant to bring something new to the world, each of us. And sometimes it's going to be very different. I never talked about channeling or anything like that. I kept it hidden because that didn't make sense to me. Except you'll understand that everything is consciousness, and we pass on consciousness to one another. That's how it works. We don't come into the world knowing anything, and then we develop different skills. I developed a skill to hear universal consciousness. It wasn't like any other channel that you might have known, because it was given in real time. And that was the thing that was discovered. I didn't even know I had done that. You have something you probably don't know you have developed as well, because that's what we're all meant to do. But if we don't bring it to the world or don't talk about it, it doesn't do us any good or anyone else. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing it to the world. And I'm also talking about this now because this will be what I will be explaining when I go on to the show, Coast to Coast, because this is far too important, especially now in our world, for people not to know who they could become and not to understand that they have a valuable purpose. And I do know that. When I first was told that, that I had this information, and it was to get every person to understand their rightful place. That's why I would have your birthday and have a message on your birthday, because you have a DNA code, energetic code, that came into the planet at the right time to accomplish something. And yes, you do have a divine plan, and I've seen it, because that's what came through, because we all do. Now, over centuries, we may not believe that. Over time, we have difficulty believing in our importance, and so then the world can go into a little chaos. And this particular period, as Wilhelm has said, was a restructuring, meaning that we were meant to change things, but we were going to go through some disruption, and that disruption would be within us. Are we going to decide to become who we could be? Are we going to decide to love ourselves? And if we're holding back, as I was doing, that doesn't happen. And so that's what I'm doing now. And so I put out documents before, and you guys can see that, because it surprised me that how this work came through. But now I'm going to get out of my way, because I've been so introverted and shy about sharing things, but I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. And I don't want to, because I know how valuable this is for anyone. If it could have healed absolutely everything in my life, and I'm watching people struggle because they can't get through something, or they don't understand themselves, and or they haven't been able to accept who they are. I know that feeling. But I also wrote down the way to move beyond it, because it's in your consciousness. It's all in that brain chemistry that we can change. And it was just so, when I looked at that message, I said I had to come and do this video, because I had just written the article about how do you explain that. And this is how I'm explaining it. I'll see you soon.